Have you ever had a near-death experience? Or perhaps someone you know may have had a near-death experience? Well, if so, we would love to hear your story and have you as a guest on our podcast. For more information, visit NDE.world. Again, that's NDE.world. We would love to hear your story.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the NDE World Podcast.
Okay, welcome back to the studio. I am your host, Ashton Lewis, with my lovely assistant, Miss Daphne Lynn. And we are very interested and very excited about the wonderful world of near-death experiences because we feel from our studies and research that it links us more together as a human family than your typical run-of-the-mill religion does, So we're going to be covering a lot of that within the program and all as well. So, well, let's jump into it, So what exactly is NDE? Let me ask my lovely hostess here. What is your definition of an NDE? And we'll just start from there, and then I'll be glad to comment on it. We'll
Sounds
make
good.
it work.
NDE is near-death experience, and that is where somebody has had cardiac arrest, in an accident, any type of bodily failure where you're clinically dead. And then you have a spiritual experience out of the body where you are energy, a spirit, but you're conscious of everything around you, what's going on out of your body and around you at the same time until you go to a certain point. And then your body that's left on earth is you're not aware of anymore because you're in a different realm.
Interesting. Okay, very good. Very good. We're looking here at Dr. Jeffrey Long's book, The Actual Evidence of the Afterlife, and we've got several books, if you don't mind, we'll be commenting on because we're going to be going through these books a lot in our podcast and things like that. Along with, actually, we're going to be going over stories and reading stories of these near-death experiences and really breaking down all of the elements that these all have in common. We're going to kind of slightly touch base on the elements today. However, we're going to really get into them deeper as we proceed with the actual episodes. So I'm going to make a few quotes here from Dr. Jeffrey Long's book. Again, like I mentioned, Evidence of the Afterlife. And it says here that near-death experiences, or NDEs, okay, are events that take place as a person is dying or indeed is already clinically dead. People who have NDEs are called near-death experiencers, or NDEers. Okay. So where did this kind of start? I mean, we have ancient history, from what I understand, all the way back to Plato, where someone dying and coming back and telling stories of that afterlife or that other, absolutely. But more in modern times, back in 1975, I believe it was, Dr. Raymond Moody, he had the book Life After Life, and
Yes, have it right here.
okay, yeah, let's kind of talk about that. That's kind of where it actually started, as far as more in modern times. But that book had really revolutionized a lot of the NDE world. Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, Dr. Moody really kind of led the way in bringing this into the forefront and making people aware and bringing the knowledge forward about this because, prior to 75, you really didn't hear of, because people thought you were crazy, wanted to put you in a straitjacket, put you away, when these were real things that happened to the people that were real experiences. So he helped to bring this knowledge forward, and Life After Life is a really good book. It kind of breaks down the experience. Like
the actual elements of the experience.
The one from Dr. Long.
Yeah.
His book. They
And
both
we're going
break
to cover
it down.
those here, definitely here. We're going to kind of go over them, but we're not going to go into any kind of in-depth in this particular episode. This is kind of an introduction, but
Sure.
the actual next episode, we're going to actually really start focusing in on the actual elements. And that way, anytime you hear an NDE, okay, and there's also what we call the DNDE. It's
Distressing?
a distressed, the distressed NDE, and we're going to be, we'll be covering that as well. So,
Which, to follow up with the book with that, Nancy Evans Bush, she covers the distressing side of a lot of
Yes,
this.
yes.
Dancing Past the Dark
yes,
is one of her books.
absolutely.
That
I think
covers
another
that.
one was the Buddha.
Buddha in Hell.
Yeah, Buddha in Hell.
Yeah, there's
so.
all kinds of books out here with the information that's available, and a lot of people have not even heard of it. It's very interesting.
As far as the DNDEs,
Yes.
yeah, that's wild. That's really amazing. And we're going to cover that because it is something that people experience, and we can share what we've actually learned about it. And we are going to look into the actual depth of the actual near-death experience itself. And the experience is broken down in many elements, okay, that are common elements. However, no two near-death experiences are identical, okay?
Right.
But when many near-death experiences are studied, a pattern of elements that commonly occur, can be seen. And
Oh yeah.
let me kind of go. In fact, I've got Dr. Jeffrey Long's book here on the actual evidence of the afterlife, and I know you've got Dr. Moody's book right there that covers the basic elements. And we're going to get more into these, but just kind of an overview, okay? Now, keep in mind the near-death experience is really the overall experience itself, okay? But the actual mystical, magical, spiritual phenomenon, okay, is it's more or less, well, I tell you what, let's just break it down. It'll be easier to take it like that, and then we'll kind of start to explain exactly what's what, So let me just kind of go over these here. There are the basic elements, okay? They've got what's called the actual out-of-body experience, okay? This is part of the NDE, okay? That near-death experience where it's broken down into elements, okay? Once you know what these elements are, anytime you listen to or hear or see or, or experience someone that shares an NDE, it'll be very easy to break down its structure and understand what these elements are, okay? So I'm gonna mention a few of them here, and if you don't mind, I get you to mention the same one that Dr. Moody had put in his book, and we'll just kind of toss back and forth and see what these common elements are. We're not going to get deep in them on this episode, but just to kind of give the listeners an idea of the elements of the near-death experience, So according to this book here and people that we've, watched and interviewed and things like that, there's the out-of-body experience, okay? So that's where, like I said earlier, where all the magic lies. The spiritual experience is in the OBE. It's not in the near-death experience. You see, the near-death experience
Right.
is the whole overall experience. However,
Out of body.
yeah, if they're still in body, that's part of the near-death experience. However, once that body and that consciousness or that spirit become disattached, they're still attached some kind of way, maybe through the silver cord. I'm not really
That's
sure.
what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still attached, but they have the out-of-body experience.
Most people see themselves float, if they're in a hospital room, floating above
Absolutely.
at the ceiling, looking down, or at the foot of the bed, somewhere in the room, and they can see what's going on.
Absolutely, and anywhere maybe the trauma or accident or
Exactly.
what had happened. I mean, I've heard of people in car accidents, and they're
See,
like
it's-
above it, looking down, watching people trying to resuscitate,
Yes.
the body, and like you said, operating tables. They're actually. So it starts with the OBE. It starts with the out of body experience. So the out of body experience is really the phenomena. That's the mystical, magical, spiritual part of the near death experience.
Right. And people have out of body experiences as well that are not clinically dead.
Absolutely.
I know someone personally that has had an out of body experience. No drugs were involved or anything. So there are two different classifications that I'm aware of of OBE.
Right, right. Well, to go with that, yeah, you don't have to, and that's a good point. You don't have to have a near-death experience to experience an out-of-body experience. You know,
Right.
Out-of-body experience can be experienced in several ways. You know, you can do that on your own, even through meditations and things
Astral
like that,
projections, yeah.
projections and
Yeah.
things, or you can just have there these wild and weird and strange
Phenomenon.
a phenomena and occasions where it happens. And we're going to have guests on here, that actually we're going to have guests that has had near-death experiences that would love to share their experiences with you guys. And we're also going to have those who's had the out-of-body experiences that maybe not had an NDE or a near-death experience, but they're going to be able to share their out-of-body experience. So that all kind of ties in with that phenomena, So so pretty much that's where it starts. They come out of the physical body that we're here. So this consciousness, this awareness separates from the body and is looking down or looking from
A different perspective.
a second perspective or something like that, second person or whatever, a totally different view. So that's one of the common elements. Okay.
Yes.
Another one would be the heightened senses. Okay.
Yes.
They've got number 3 here. It says intense and generally positive emotions or feelings.
Yeah. In Dr. Moody's book, he's got feelings of peace and quiet.
Yeah.
I think those two would relate in comparison with these two books.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, good point. Number 4 here, it says passing into or through a tunnel.
Yep, dark tunnel.
The famous tunnel. Okay,
The
now
famous
let's take a moment on that, and we'll get more into that. But here,
because
in
it's
future
different
episodes.
according to your geographical location. Because Aborigines experience one thing, Americans experience another.
Africa. One, yeah.
I mean,
Japan.
Japan.
Yeah.
Everyone experiences
different
NDEs. According to their traditions.
Absolutely, and one of the actually near future, should I say, episodes that we're going to do, we're going to be covering the actual religious influence on the NDE.
Yeah.
Because there are religious influences in the people's NDEs. We have found that out. And there's also cultural, like you had just mentioned. So here in the short, I think it's going to be episodes 3, 4, something like that. I have to, check the list and see, but we do have that coming out as well. So we're going to cover all that in more detail. But there's always going to be a tunnel. We hear that a lot. You have to go through the tunnel. So next would be encountering a mystical or brilliant light.
The being of light.
The light at the end of the tunnel. So and now the next one here is number 6 is encountering other beings, either
Maybe
mystical
others.
beings or deceased relatives or friends. Any comments on that?
The same with this book. It's kind of going along the same way. Little different variation as far as the meeting of others, being of the light. The review, the life review is like next in this book. So I don't know what's next in your book, but the life review.
It's coming up. Yes, the life review, which is my favorite part. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, and we're going to really get deeper on this, like I said, in the near future episodes. Encountering other beings, some people claim to see spiritual characters, Krishna, Jesus, you see that a lot.
Moses.
Some people see,
God.
Moses. Some people see family members.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of that is going to be influenced by that person's culture. It's their religious influence. Somebody who was grown up Hindu is not going to probably have an NDE of Jesus.
Right, yeah. It's the influence of your geographical location.
Absolutely. And your religious influence.
Yes.
You see, they go hand in hand, of course.
They do, yeah.
So next would be a sense of alteration of time and space. You hear that a lot, like time does not exist on the other side. Time is more or less a human construct. There is no future, there is no past, there is, it's only now, the eternal now. That's all we are, is the now. We've constructed the concept of the past, but really the only past and present, the only past and future is really just in our minds.
Right.
The
Everything is
reality
present.
Everything is present. It's
The
just
now.
it's the eternal now. Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
always in the now. Yeah, absolutely. Now on this one, now we're talking about the life review. You had mentioned that earlier a while
the
ago. Now the
review.
life review is my most favorite part of the near-death experience that we hear, because to me the life review is, how do I put this in words where it would make sense to the listeners? It to me makes the most sense when you compare it to religious traditions such as Christianity and heaven and hell. Good people are going to be going to hell. I mean, good going to heaven. Pardon me. Good people going to heaven, and bad, mad, mean people and whatever's going to be going in hell and be tormented, and or those who don't accept Jesus as their Savior is going to burn in hell. And the life review to me is so beautiful, because what would be the most ultimate way to make another person pay the price for what they've done? To let them experience it themselves. You see, so the life review. What's beautiful about that, for what I understand, you are shown, all of the love that you've given out, but you've somehow or another you're plugged into that person. There's that connection. Maybe all the silver cords connect or whatever. I don't know, but you feel the love that you've given to that person. It comes back to you, that love,
as well as the opposite side of the coin, the pain, the hurt.
Exactly.
That
That's
you've
where I was
caused
going
others.
to. That's
You
where I was going
experience
to.
the empathy of it.
Absolutely.
But get a clear view and picture of state of them and you at the same time. It's all open and connected.
Absolutely. So you become one, and you that's that oneness, okay?
Right.
You become one with that person that you hurt, okay, that you harmed, or that you did something to. Whatever you did to anybody, you're going to have to feel their pain. And it's not a judgment. I hear this from all the NDEers.
It's not judgment
they said
at
they
all.
never felt judged, like it's a judgment. But they had to connect with all these people and feel their pain, and they said it's all at the same time. It's not linear like our time, like this one and this one and this one. It's like everything is experiencing like in a 360 thing, everything all at once, But they are different. They do vary. I'm not saying every single NDE is like that, but you do have the good that you've done, and you've got the bad that you've done, and you're going to have to experience that.
In saying all that, the accounts that I have heard and read about when you're going through that life review, it's not like you're being judged. This is a condemnation. It's not judgment at all.
Purge.
It's a purge.
It's a purging.
Yes.
That's what it is, because
it's a clearing out of the bad so that you can go forward in the good.
That's right, because the next level, the next realm, the evil or the darkness that's in this level
can't
go with you. In fact,
many
you've heard,
say that. Yeah.
You were talking about that earlier, where people experience that kind of stuff, and we'll get more into the experiences later. I'm just kind of going over the overview right now.
Yeah, because we have so many.
Yeah, we will talk about that. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but let's kind of jump back here on the list real quick. Number 9 on this book is Encountering Otherworldly or Heavenly Realms. All right. Number 10, Encountering or Learning Special Knowledge. I hear that a lot, that your mind is opened up to everything out there, and you actually grasp reality in a way that you can't really grasp it here.
Right, yeah.
On this
it's
plane.
Total open communication, the one. And that's amazing, because we don't have that here. There's no connection here. And in that realm, that veil, whatever you want to call it, everything is connected.
Absolutely.
Everyone is connected.
And everyone is connected in this world too, but we just don't know. We've gotten away from that.
Don't acknowledge it.
Yeah, and we'll get more into that. Encountering a boundary or barrier.
That's next in
Any
Moody's
comments?
book. Yeah, it says the border or the limit, and that is where they can go no farther in this process. You have to go back, because from what I understand, if they are allowed to go further, they're not coming back.
Right.
To the body. It is a experience of death, not an NDE.
Correct. That's my understanding as well. And a lot of times, from a lot of the reviews that we've done and looked into and things like that, you know, the people are given an option on whether or not
Some are, yes.
you know, some are correct. Some are given, I should say the correct. Some are given the option to say, hey, do you want to go with us? Or do you want to go back, you know, to that body and to that where, you know, but some of them don't have the option. Some of them are told, no, you don't go. You have to go back into that body.
Right.
You've got
And-
things to do. You've got your purpose to accomplish. There's more to
Right.
your life.
And that goes on with Dr. Moody's book. Is coming back part is after that. But I hear a lot of the stories about the coming back. It's like they put up a fight. They argue. They like a child. No, I don't want to go back. Don't make me go back. So the coming back is part of that border. You have to come back
It's the ending
now.
of the NDE, correct. So, and that's kind of funny you mentioned that, because the final one of the number 12 here is a return to the body, either voluntary or involuntary, which is kind of like we mentioned earlier. You have the option, you know, in some cases,
yeah.
to choose to come back, or to go ahead and, you know, leave this body behind and move on to the next world, or, you know, stay or go, whatever you know, or they're going to tell you you've got to go back.
Right.
Either way. So that's kind of the basic overview of the actual NDEs.
Right.
And again, like I said, we are going to interview firsthand experiencers that are NDEers. You know, we're part of a few groups, and so we're going to be personally interviewing these people, and we will bring these interviews to you guys. And but before we get to the interviews and things like that, we're going to really understand these elements. We're going to start breaking these elements down. So in our next episode, we're going to take these actual elements that we talked about, okay, and then really start breaking them down, okay, really getting more descriptive and understanding of what each element is, okay, and then after that, we're actually going to be having probably single episodes on just each element, and then we'll start incorporating the actual experiences of both the NDEs, OBEs, or even
Extraordinary experiences.
You know, anything beyond belief. You know, because you know we know people that's had lots of different just weird experiences, and experiences that are very supernatural. You know, that we'll probably bring some of those on here as well. You know, just to kind of you know, let everybody know that.
Oh,
so
yeah. We have some exciting upcoming shows to do. But you know, the one thing I really like about Life After Life, Dr. Moody's book, is it goes on to talk about after you come back, about telling others. I mean, because people have a hard time sharing their experience with others and the effects on their lives and others around them. So, and then they have new views on deaths and different lessons that they have had to learn from their experience. So his book goes a little bit deeper into the after the NDE.
Absolutely, and I like how you brought that out, that the NDE is typically a lesson. It's a lesson that is, you know, locked up in the element of the near-death experience.
Right. Yes. And a lot of the Nancy Evans Bush, her books cover a lot of the distressing ones, and there's lessons in that people have to learn to be able to grow and love and forgive. So I love the books. So it's something you're going to hear on here a lot, is references to different books that can help you in your knowledge as well.
Absolutely. Now, looking at the time, we're probably going to go ahead and get ready to wrap things up. So in this particular episode, but we'll be right back here in episode 2 and really get this system rolling. You're going to really love this.
Jump in with your boots on.
That's right. So before we go, would you like to maybe share a couple of the books that we will be covering? I do know we do have the the Dr. Jeffrey Long with the evidence of the afterlife. So there's lots of really wonderful information in there, and of course Dr. Moody's book.
Okay, Raymond Moody has Life After Life. This one that I have here, which he does have other books. These authors, most of them have multiple books. So you search one, you could be able to find the others that they have written. As well as Nancy Evans Bush, she has several. Bruce Grayson, After, he's got some really good points in his books. The PMH Atwater, the big book of near-death experiences, the ultimate guide to what happens when we die. So there are several books out there available. If you are interested in this, just Google it, YouTube it, whatever. You can find vast knowledge out there, a wealth of information on this.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we are going to have a wonderful time, a really great time bringing this information to you guys and
enjoying it. I mean,
this
it's
is
so
fun.
Enriching and so enlightening.
It really is. It really takes you to a whole different level of consciousness and really,
Yes.
Broadens your understanding. Because I was raised up from different religious backgrounds, and a lot
As
of
I
us
too.
are. And you're taught certain dogma and indoctrination and things like that, and it's mostly fear tactics. When you realize
Right.
that, we'd have to start as far as the afterlife and concepts of God and things like that. And we're going to be going into all that here on this program as well. But it's really getting a good, clear idea, what exactly is God. That's an individual thing for everybody.
Yeah, that's
so,
a subject on its own.
Yes, exactly. So,
Yeah.
but
But,
it's all tied in.
Yeah, you mentioned fear, the fear tactics. And just from my experience and the things that I have learned, there is no fear in truth. Once you know truth, there's no fear. It's like if you're trying to jump out of an airplane, skydiving, if you've never done it, you're going to be scared to death.
Absolutely. Fear is simply
Because
the
the
lack
fear
of
is
knowledge.
of unknown, what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've done that experience multiple hundreds of times, there's no fear in it because you know what's going to happen. You know what to expect. So there's no fear in truth. There's no fear in that.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. And the biggest challenge with religion, and this is not for everybody, and what we will not do is ever put down anyone's religious belief, anyone's spiritual beliefs, because we believe, and we share this with a lot of our friends and family and people that we talk to. It's not our place to judge or to criticize or to put another
Condemn.
person down because of their belief system or because they don't want to believe what I believe or whatever. And that's the biggest challenge that we find with religion is the cops and robbers, the us against them mindset that, hey, we are the chosen, we have the truth. You can't get to God. You've got to go through us. You've got to go through our church. You got to go through our group. You got to go through our religion. You got to go through our God. You can only get through Jesus to get to God. You can only go through the Catholic Church to get to God. You can only
Right.
go through Krishna to get to. I don't know, or go through something to get to Krishna. A Buddha to get to.
Yeah, there's the dogmatic points of view is we won't. I won't. I used to when I was in religion. I used to be very judgmental. I used to say, well, if you're not doing it this way, then you're not going to make it.
You're gonna
that's
burn in hell. You're going to be
Right.
destroyed. Or
That
that
is-
is not God of love. That's not love.
Exactly. That is not love, and that is not loving to try to force my beliefs on someone else. As long as people are doing good, as long as they are seeking their spiritual side. That's what all the different roads are, is to bring you to the source.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's words of wisdom. So I hate to say it, but it looks like our time is up for this actual episode, but we've hit on some really good points. I love what you were saying there. Just keep in mind the NDE experience, it does have a direct link to your spiritual, cultural, religious, consciousness, upbringing, and things like that. So anyway, again, I'm your host, Ashton Lewis, and my lovely assistant, Miss Daphne Lynn, and we are here with the NDE World group, and it's our job to bring all these experiences to you guys and just bring the information to you and maybe open your eyes and hearts and hopefully open up a way to your mindset to bring you peace in case you might have experienced the loss of loved ones in your life or ever pondered the question of what happens after death. Until next time, peace be with you.
Peace out.